So, Piers Morgan had a new show yesterday, and it was a debate between Riley Gaines and Blossom. So, for those of you that don't know who either of them are, Riley Gaines is the one that famously stood on the stage next to Leah Thomas at the college track event, and she's been calling out trans people in women's sports ever since then, saying how they have an unfair advantage and it's not fair. Blossom is a black trans woman who you probably recognize from Jubilee videos. Just if you haven't seen this person, let's give you a snippet of what to expect from this debate with Michael Knowles in the latest Jubilee video.
Hi.
Hello.
Blossom. She, her, hers powerhouse.
Blossom Powerhouse, lovely to meet you.
Yes.
So that was her introduction to Michael Knowles. Very narcissistic, I would say. So Pierce, I'm just gonna let you guys know now, this is a very painful debate to watch, just because Blossom's just talking over everyone constantly. The first 15 minutes was just Blossom talk, and then complaining that people were trying to interrupt when they were the only one talking. So before we get into this, make sure you like, subscribe to this video, subscribe to the channel, comment, follow my other socials down below. All right, let's just jump into this. So this is kind of a little bit of introduction. Pierce asking Blossom just about trans people in sports in general.
See you making faces there. I've got one question to start this debate with you. Why do we separate the sexes at the Olympics?
You know, first of all, I want to say shout out to Cece Tolfer. I've met her before. She is a magnificent person, and she is very bad ASS, and I love her to death. Let me say
Well,
this.
we'll come to Cece Telfer in a moment. Cece Telfer might be a fabulous person.
Yes.
I'm going to come later to why I think what she does.
For people that don't know, this is like another trans athlete.
Is completely wrong. But just on the question I asked, why do we separate the sexes at the Olympics?
If you actually, Piers, if you actually let me get to it, because you let Riley have her talking point, so I'm going to actually have my talking point right now. Cece is definitely a wonderful person, and I think, let's be clear, Donald Trump is a complete moron. Donald Trump talks so much about waste and fraud, and you're signing a whole executive order banning trans women from playing sports. According to the NCAA, there are over 510,000 athletes, and within those athletes, there are only less than 10 trans athletes. So you mean to tell me Donald Trump signed an executive order for 0.002 of the population when trans people are only 1%? That's a waste. That is a waste. Trans people exist. There are more than two sexes. There are intersex.
So basically what Blossom is trying to say is it's only 10 people. It's not that big a deal. Regardless if it's only one person, it'd be an unfair advantage, first off. And second off, I think Leah Thomas proved that just one person messes everything up because they dominated women's sports. There's just one person, but everybody got bumped down, which you'll see in a second because Riley Gaines pretty much explains that right here.
I mean, the first thing you say is Donald Trump is a moron. What 20-year-old girl wants to be called transphobic or any of the slurs that have been thrown my way? I can certainly attest to. Piers mentioned
Riley, I think you're trying to, Riley, I think you're just trying to make it seem like that trans people are a threat to cis women in the breast room, and that's not the case. Trans women and cis women should be coming together. Trans women are not a threat to cis women.
Okay, but here's the look, but Blossom.
This is funny too. So I might have skipped over the part where she mentions the second down thing, or maybe it's coming up. I might be a little out of order here. This is kind of funny though, how Pierce responds to Blossom's cis women comment.
And I think that y'all have ran on that ideology. Y'all have ran on that
once he lets her speak, or once Blossom lets him speak.
Blossom, hang on.
And you're going to have to specifically tell me cases. Can you specifically tell me cases of where trans women have hurt cis women in the restroom?
Blossom,
I'd like to know that, please.
Blossom, we don't use words like cis on here because no one understands it. Let's just...
well, I use cisgender, so that's where I'm
sure you do, but nobody...
I like to use that in my vocabulary.
Yeah, but nobody else understands it. Let's just stick to my question. My question for you, which you haven't...
just because you just don't have the intellectual capacity, Piers. You don't have the intellectual capacity to understand the terminology that I'm using.
Blossom, just to...
Blossom just said Pierce doesn't have the intellectual capacity to understand. before what, 3 or 4 years ago, nobody even said the term cis when it came to anything. Wasn't even mentioned at all. Nobody even knew what it was 3 or 4 years ago. Now, if you don't use it, it's because you don't have the intellectual capacity. These people are mental.
Explain something. You're appearing on a show called Piers Morgan Uncensored. That means you can say whatever you want.
I know all about you, Piers.
Okay, you can think
and I know how you're good at race baiting. I know how you're good at being transphobic, and that's why I'm here to face you.
Just to be clear,
face you one-on-one.
When do you think I've ever race baited?
Honey, you remember that?
Oh, he got into this whole story of something to do with some kind of Sharon Osbourne kind of situation. I'm not sure what it was, but basically, it was just Blossom talking for like 3 straight minutes, not even letting him explain anything, and she's just calling him racist and transphobic over and over and over again, because that's all the left and these kind of people have. When you disagree with them, it's because you're transphobic. It's because you're racist. It's because you're not even against them. You just don't agree with their ideology, because that's all that matters to them. You have to blindly agree with everything they magically think about, and then everything moves farther and farther and farther to the left. And then if you don't agree, you're the worst person alive. So that's how these people are. Let me get to this.
Newspaper in this country in which I extolled the glorious moment we finally had a biracial wedding in our otherwise all-white royal family. You might be bored, but I'm going to address your allegation.
Okay,
that
Piers,
hang on, I haven't finished. I haven't finished.
But I'm here to talk about
finished,
trans women in
Blossom.
sports,
Let me finish. Let me just educate you.
Well, I didn't get to finish.
Let me just
Piers.
educate you with some
You don't
facts.
get to disrespect a
You've
black
called me a
trans woman.
race
Do not
baiter.
interrupt a black
You've
trans
called me a
woman when
race.
she's speaking,
Please stop
okay?
talking. You've called me a race baiter. I'm a
allegedly.
Hang on.
Alleged race
Hang on.
baiter.
And you. Right. So let me finish. So what happened then was Sharon Osbourne, who was on a show called The Talk on CBS, now sadly no longer there because they got rid of Sharon. And guess what? Nobody wanted to watch it. And Cheryl Underwood, a black woman on that panel, set up Sharon Osbourne in the most despicable manner imaginable. And she said to Sharon Osbourne, "Why did you support Piers Morgan when he said those racist things?"
Of course you would
And Sharon
think a black
Osbourne,
woman
hang
is
on,
doing things
you
despicably.
can respond when I
Of
finish
course
telling you
would
what
think a
happened.
black woman
You
is
can
despicable,
respond
Piers.
when
You are
I tell you
disgusting,
what
Piers.
happened.
I just want you to know you
Blossom,
are a disgusting
you can respond.
white cis man.
You can respond when I finish.
Blossom says he's a disgusting white cis man. He's literally just trying to explain it, and Blossom still won't let him talk. Like, how full of yourself do you have to be to constantly just talk over everyone, act like you're just the most important person in the room just because you exist? And that's how Blossom is. I don't know if you guys have seen the Jubilee videos. Blossom's the same way on all the Jubilee videos. Constantly talking over the person that they are debating. And that's the thing with people on the left. Like, they get to this point where they think they're winning a debate just because they're not letting the other person talk. That's winning to them. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to hear your thought process or your ideology. They just want to hear themselves talk over you because in their mind they're winning that way. It's insane.
In the year that followed, that her whole career was sent down the drain because, ironically, the race baiter was actually the black woman on that panel, Cheryl Underwood.
Just be prepared for this part. This is going to send Blossom into a rage.
Not Sharon Osbourne and not me. So I'm very glad you raised the issue of race baiting. But let's be clear, as you're doing now, the race baiting came from Cheryl Underwood to Sharon Osbourne, and it's now coming from you. So now you can respond.
Cannot be racist, Piers.
Now you can
Black
respond.
women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
yes, they
capacity
can.
to understand that.
Oh, yes,
but
they
that's
can.
Very much
and you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter.
So Blossom says black women cannot be racist to white women. Black people can't be racist in general. And it's funny seeing Piers go like, I'm sorry. Like, it's the most absurd thing he's ever heard. Literally, the definition of racism is just not liking someone because of their race. It doesn't say not liking brown people. or saying only white people can be racist. If you don't like someone else because of the color of their skin, you are racist, regardless of what race you are yourself. And people like Blossom don't see it that way. So that's what gives them the thought process, or they feel like they have the right to say whatever they want about everyone else, regardless of how they're making them feel or what they're saying, because they think they're untouchable. They think they're invincible because in their minds, they are right. Everyone else is wrong. And I hate to say this, there are some minorities that think this way, that think because they have brown skin, they can't be racist. And it's just not true. And are there racist white people out there? Absolutely. I'm not ever going to deny that. Racist people exist. But there's racist people of all races. That's common sense. But obviously, Blossom didn't like that. And like that, Pierce was saying he was being race baited by them. And yeah, Blossom just went crazy. So let's skip a little farther here.
Let me ask you about reality then.
Speaking, do not interrupt a black trans woman when I'm speaking.
Oh, don't be so
do not interrupt a
pathetic.
black trans woman when I'm.
Oh wait, hold on. I got a little farther here. So this is funny.
Support it. There is no evidence.
It's not. Hold on. Let me check you on that. Let me check you on that. You talk about this race card or whatnot. The race card is reality. My experience as a black trans woman is completely different than yours as
Reality?
a white cis man.
Well, let me ask you about reality then.
Speaking, do not interrupt a black trans woman when I'm speaking.
Oh, don't be so
do not interrupt a
pathetic.
black trans woman when I'm speaking. Okay, Riley, this was so much.
Blossom's viewpoint is based on reality. This person right here, all their views are based on reality. And then Blossom goes for, don't interrupt a black trans woman. Like that, the entitlement Blossom has. Oh, I'm black, I'm trans, I'm more important than all of you. You guys all have to listen to me and I have to talk. That's it. Like, the entitlement is just absolutely insane.
So you can interrupt me for the last 10 minutes.
Like
so just to be clear, hang on. Just to be clear, Blossom.
White tears about trans
all right, just can you mute Blossom for a moment, please? Thank you.
You're making.
It actually got to the point where Pierce muted Blossom, which I watch Pierce all the time. I don't think I've ever seen him actually do this. And there's people that interrupt a lot on his show. People that talk over each other a lot on this show. I don't think I've ever seen him get to the point where he mutes people. So that just shows how obnoxious Blossom is. I don't get it.
You tell me the answer since I don't know. Since I
QR code, hand up, right.
So now they're finally getting into the part where they're actually talking about trans people in sports and why the sexist men and women have their own categories when it comes like the Olympics, even like high school. It's separate.
This will be in America, in Los Angeles. I'll ask you one more time. Why do we separate the sexes in the Olympics? Why do we have men and women competing separately? Give me an answer.
Well, Piers, won't you tell me the answer since I don't know?
You don't know the answer? Oh, Riley's got a hand up. Riley,
I don't.
Riley,
know.
why don't you educate? Why don't you educate
tell
Blossom?
Me the answer since I don't know.
Riley, why do we separate the sexes in the Olympics?
Because men and women are different. We have different physical ceilings. It's the same reason why you have any category. It's the same reason why we have the Paralympics versus the Olympics. It's the same reason why we have weight classes in boxing. We don't have weight classes in boxing because we are fat shaming people who weigh more. No, we have weight classes because it would be unfair. We know the outcome. Every single person, kindergartners know the outcome of what would happen if we had a 220-pound man fight a 170-pound man.
Yeah, this is the whole point here. If you want to do sports, the whole point of sports is, I mean, fairness to an extent. Obviously, you have like, if you want to argue like NBA, NFL, you have like these super teams where all the best players go on the same team. But you need to have a physicality standard. So, if you have boxing and you have a man boxing a woman, that man's going to be way stronger than the woman. It's a fact. If you even do like a running event, the man is going to be way faster than a woman. Swimming event, the man's going to be faster than the woman. Men are stronger, typically. Now, if you're talking about the everyday person, like if I went one-on-one with a Brittany Griner in the WNBA, she'd probably beat me because I'm not an NBA player. We're talking about people on the peaks, like the top level of sports that we're talking about here, not the everyday person. I think that's where people get mixed up. Oh, this everyday man can't beat a woman on top of her level. Yeah, you're right. But LeBron James would probably score 100 points in the first quarter against Brittany Griner. Two people top their level. That's the comparison that people don't understand. You put LeBron James in the WNBA, he's scoring 200 a night. He's playing until he's 100 because the men just have that much of an advantage over women when it comes to sports like this. And people like Blossom don't want to hear it.
I'll tell you why they separate the sexes, just as Riley has. It's because men have a physical advantage over women, which would mean that women would not win more than a handful of medals in the entire Olympics. Would you be happy if it was a gender-neutral Olympics?
Why are we?
Hang on.
Why
Answer
are we
my
saying
question.
This about women, though?
Answer
women
my question.
are just as strong as men.
I'm asking you.
I'm sorry. Women are just as strong as men.
So
women
just to
are
be
just
clear,
as powerful as men.
Okay.
And I don't believe that.
Okay, Blossom.
That's just your opinion.
So Blossom,
that's not always fact.
Blossom, if the world #1 tennis player,
I don't buy it.
Okay, you know that Serena Williams admits that she would be beaten by the top 1,000 men in the world at tennis, right? You know that, do you?
No, I did not.
You did not know that. So
okay, where's
you don't know that.
So that's the point here where they're trying to make. I don't know if Serena Williams would say this today. I think she said this like 10 years ago, but I think that Riley Gaines goes on to say like the 200 ranked male tennis player destroyed her. And she was the #1 tennis player for years when it comes to the women's. But men can move left to right faster. They have a harder swing. They can hit the ball harder. So even in sports like tennis, like, you know, men have an advantage. It's as simple as that. And that's why, like, if men and women are in the same category there, you probably wouldn't even know who Serena Williams was.
Frank smoked between sets and played 18 holes of golf.
Blossom, just to be clear, would you want the American Olympics, the LA Olympics, would you want them to be gender neutral where the sexes compete with each other?
Absolutely. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think as long as
do you also believe
it's completely insane?
Men and non-binary
people,
people,
also believe
then yes,
that we should
why not?
It's completely insane.
So the Olympics going forward, we should have men and women compete in the same categories. That is such an insane thought process. Women would never get medals. Like, you're literally, like, the left tries to be like, oh, we're the party that protects women. You're literally writing women out of future history when it comes to any sport there is. Men will, like, get all the records in women's sports. It's like, it's so insane that they think this way. Like, let me show you an example. So this is the past Olympics 2024 track and field. So I did college track and field. I was D3, so nothing crazy or special. But I've seen firsthand how men are just faster than women. So in my sport, I did track. I was a distance runner, so that's why I'm bringing up like 5K and stuff like that. I was one of the slowest people on my team, but I was faster than all the girls on my team. I was one of the slowest men, but I was faster than all the women. That's how that works. So if you have this here, men's 5K, first place, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that way, from Norway. A speed of 13:13, which is an insanely fast 5K time. Insanely fast. Fifth place, 13:15. Women's, 14:28, a full minute and 15 seconds slower than the men's. And now you're like, oh, minute 15 is no big deal. 5K is a pretty quick race, especially when it comes to the Olympics, because they're all fast. Now, let's compare this. So like I said, I just did Division III. For you guys who don't know that how college works, there's Division I, like, you know, Alabama, Ohio State, teams you know. Division II is more like University of Delaware, schools you might not know as much. And then Division III are like state schools that you probably never even heard of. And so Division I's the best college athletes. Division II, second tier college athlete. And Division III is kind of like you can walk onto the team if you have an interest in it. And you don't need anything more than that. So this is the top 5K runners from this past year in Division 3. The top one, 14 minutes flat, men. The Olympic women got 14:28. So the Division 3, which is worse than Division 2, worse than Division 1, worse than the professionals, and then worse than the people in the Olympics. All these men, all these, look at the top, what is this, top 8, all did better than the gold medal Olympic runner for the women's 5K. So that means all the Division 2 athletes did better, all the Division 1 athletes, all the professional athletes, all did better than the gold medalists for the Olympics 5K. That's how big of a difference this is. And people just overlook it like it's no big deal. Like, it's a huge difference. I think I got one more, so a little bit more up here. I got a few more things to show you.
Behind and sign an executive order that he doesn't even know anything about. He's a convicted felon, 34 felonies, right? We also need to be focusing on letting convicted felons in this
She's just
country
ranting at
vote
this
since
point.
we elected a convicted felon, right?
Right.
There's so much more work. The economy is tanking here in
All right,
America.
Riley.
Gas prices are high.
Okay.
Why is Trump focused
She's
so much
deflecting at
on
this point.
trans people?
Because he
Neither
wants
one
to
of y'all
preserve
can
the
answer this
integrity.
question,
Because
guess what?
I'll tell you
You're
why.
not
I'll tell you why,
trans.
Blossom. Because
You're
he's up
not
it.
trans,
I'll tell you
Piers.
why, Blossom.
I'm a woman.
Hang on,
but I'm a woman,
Riley.
Blossom.
Hang on, Blossom. Here's why. Because he's up against complete lunatics like you who think it would be right to have a
Lunatic.
gender-neutral
Well, honey, it takes
Olympics.
one to know one.
Pierce is going hard here. Called Blossom a complete lunatic. And then Pierce makes a good point that, like, this wouldn't normally be like a political issue, it's more like a social issue. And usually up until probably Obama, you know, social issues usually stayed kind of away from politics. Politics more like just, you know, sticking to it. But the way our society works now is social issues and political issues are just like intertwined now. And this is something that a lot of people have an issue with, especially because if you think about it, people say it's like a conservative issue. Conservatives are more likely to have kids. Conservatives usually have bigger families, so it does affect conservatives more. But it shouldn't be a left or right issue. It's a common sense issue that's blown completely out of proportion. And just to show you Blossom's mental state at the end here, they say one more thing that's just absolutely nuts.
People like Blossom are exactly why Donald Trump won on November 5th. I
I want to include this part too.
believe,
Oh,
of course,
girl,
people
please.
Donald
Girl,
Trump hates
please.
Donald Trump.
Donald
Riley Gaines makes a good point here. They are the reason. I always say too, it's not even just the whole like trans issue. People like Harry Sisson, people like Parker, people like Dean, all these like liberal pundits who are just not based in reality and live in like their own bubble, their own world, but try to preach to everyone how they need to think. They are the reason Trump won. And to this day, it's been 4 months since the election. Their thought process still hasn't changed. They still don't see the error of their way. So if they keep acting the way they do, they're going to keep losing. I've been trying to tell people this on X all the time. The way the left acts, they're not going to ever win again if they keep acting this way. I'm telling liberals themselves that they need to fix their way of thinking, like trying to help them. And they still don't get it. And they probably never will. But this last part is insane.
Have been on this program, Pierce, is totally, entirely, and thoroughly absurd from top to bottom. Saying there should be a gender-neutral Olympics?
I know.
Are you serious?
Madness.
Do you also believe, Blossom, that we should combine the Paralympics and the Olympics? I would love to hear an answer to that.
Okay, I'll ask her. Bring back Blossom. Blossom, should we combine the Paralympics with the regular Olympics? Have them all compete with each other?
I mean, why not? And to go back to
Right,
Riley's
yeah,
point to
why
that
not?
last
Yeah,
point.
okay. You are completely insane.
Let's
Oh my
go back to
So the Paralympics and the Olympics should compete together. People in wheelchairs should be competing with the best athletes on the planet. People with missing limbs should be competing with the best athletes on the planet, according to Blossom. This is an insane thought process. Like, what? Oh my God. These people. So that's pretty much it. You guys should go watch it yourself. I know it's probably torture watching through it. It was definitely a rough watch compared to some of his normal debates. Blossom's difficult to listen to, especially on the Jubilee videos. I recommend checking those out too, because just the thought process and the mindset some of these people have are just, one, it's not stable, and two, it doesn't make sense. Like the reality and the thought process they think just does not make sense. But then they think they're the ones that are right, and the rest of us are crazy because they're just that confident that they are right. So, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Links to all my other socials will be down below. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you next time.